Okay, hey everybody, and welcome back, or welcome if you are new. It's been a minute, it truly has. I have not done this in 2 freaking months. I mean, the talking part I've been doing a lot of since it was really busy. I had a job interview the other day, because I might be moving in November. We'll see. Updates to come. So, a lot of talking has been done, but talking into the camera, that is a skill I'm gonna have to relearn, and relearn fast, because we're doing this. We are doing this. Wait, show the shelf, come on. Evidence of literature, literary consumption, right here. Okay, so why am I here today? I am here today to break the infamous streak that I have done of not filming. Basically, long story short, the mental health was shit up the ass last August. And so I was like, I need a break from the internet. It's just not a good place to be, ever. Excuse the birds. And I ended up deleting YouTube Studio, which was the smartest / dumbest thing I've ever done. Smartest because, oh my gosh, it was so good for the body and the soul to just not have to look at those stats just staring me in the face and saying that I was a fucking fuck up, but then bad because it was the only thing that apparently was keeping me accountable in posting stuff. So today I'm here to rectify the situation. I wrote a bunch of scripts for videos to do for y'all, and today we're gonna be talking about, okay, let's do this one. I'm gonna be recommending books that are going to make you vomit, okay? Unless you're a seasoned extreme horror reader like myself. But if you're not, and you wanna get up, this is the stuff for you. Trigger warnings for everything, okay? If you're new, I'm gonna issue them, but for those of you who are not new, this is the good stuff. So, I'm gonna be recommending to you some extreme horror books to satiate your disgust and bloodlust for the month of October. We are in spooky season, officially. Let's do this. So the first book I wanna talk about is a book that I have not yet discussed on this channel because I haven't done a wrap-up since July. Damn. Anyway, so that book is The Slob by Beauregard, and this book is gross. It is disgusting. I loved it. Basically, we follow this woman named Vera. When she was a little girl, she grew up in this really gross, dirty, disgusting apartment. The squalor, the grime. Basically, if you read Shiver by Junji Ito, that freaking greased oil chapter, yeah, that's what she grew up in. And as a result, she was traumatized and became a clean freak. I don't know if that's okay to say, but I'm saying it anyway. Shit on me in the comments, I don't care. I like getting shit on. I'm gonna edit that out, or am I? Anyway. So basically, she develops this mental thing where she has to have everything clean. She's like, if things aren't clean, my life is in disarray, okay? Fast forward to the future, she's struggling with money. In order to make ends meet and help her and her husband, she takes on this job as a door-to-door salesperson and begins to sell these vacuum cleaners. Now, one day, she stops upon this house, and it is the most disgusting house ever, and this is where the slob lives. And she's like, you know what, this is gonna be super easy. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna show him that this vacuum works, I'm gonna politely imply that he needs to clean his frickin' house, and then I'm gonna make a quick buck today. He will probably buy 10 of these frickin' products because his house is disgusting. Little does she know that she is getting more than she bargained for, and shit goes. There are birds having intercourse outside my window. They're making a lot of noise. This video is gonna get flagged for porn or something. Animal, I don't know. Anyway, so that's The Slob. It's disgusting. You will love it. There are some super gnarly scenes that had me like, ugh. It takes a while to get going, but once it gets going, bitch. My only complaint was that it wasn't longer. Anyway, so next I have The Sluts by, what's his name? Who wrote this book again? Damn it. Okay, so next I'm gonna be recommending the book The Sluts by Dennis Cooper. A book which I did a full video on, and I couldn't even put the name of the book in the frickin' title because it flagged my video and it was like, you can't earn money off this. So I was like, how the hell do I come up with a catchy title but also be like, yeah, I read this book. I found a way. So The Sluts is about this escort named Brad. It's not the most traditional book, like there's no hero's journey, there's no 3-act structure. It is very defiant of convention and very transgressive in its contents. Basically, we are reading from the perspective of Johns, or people who hire escorts, the escort in question being Brad. And we read about them reviewing Brad on this message board in the early 2000s. And we read about the various sexually depraved things that Brad has allowed them to do to him. And this book actually reminds me a lot of the 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade, in how it essentially becomes an encyclopedia of perversions and violence and torture. And it is just super intense. I went into this book expecting it to be some sort of like art house smut, but no, this is extreme horror all the freaking way, let me tell you this. So yeah, be not deceived by the title and the cover. It definitely is very sexual, but it's also super gory and super violent and has some of the nastiest, most cruel and depraved kills I've ever read about. And it was like, whoa, damn, I need to read The Marbled Swarm by this guy. I heard that one was up too. So next, I'm gonna be recommending a book that was actually on my best of 2020 list. Can you believe that I've been doing this shit since 2020? What the hell? Back when I used to film on my phone. So that book is The Cows by Matthew Stokoe. Let me know how you pronounce his name, people in the comments. But anyway, this book is hands down, without a doubt, the most disgusting thing I have ever read. And I gave it 5 stars. Maybe I will reread this book and do a full vlog, spoiling, telling you everything that happens, because if you want to know about disgusting shit, you are going to want to know about this book. But let me give you a brief synopsis, okay? So we follow this guy named Steven. He's got severe mommy issues, and he begins the book working in this meat processing plant, this slaughterhouse with men and cows. I don't even wanna, I don't know.
Good heavens.
I don't know if I can get away with saying anything. And if you like surprises, you will probably not want me to say anything. What I will say is that it has like a shit score on Goodreads, and pretty much every person I know who's read this book has given it like 1 star, said it was disgusting. You know what? Valid. I will happily be just alone in my corner praising this book because it is vile. It made me want to vomit. Chapter 8, damn, what the
I think I'm gonna squirt and then sit in the warm liquid.
Okay, next, I'm gonna recommend briefly a book that I have spoken about ad nauseum on this channel, and that is Header by Edward Lee. And basically, this is a novella. It's set in like the Deliverance backwoods, and we follow this cop who is new to the precinct. His mode of speaking and his vernacular is very different from everybody else in the town, and he is investigating this string of murders where people are murdered in very peculiar ways. And then you have this other storyline following this guy who was just released from prison. His parents were killed, and he would like to avenge their deaths. So he moves in with his grandfather, and his grandfather teaches him specific ways of murder, and they are very aberrant. And let me just say that when I found out what a header was, I shat myself. Projectile out of the... Anyway, I was having a really fun time reading this book. It's only like 70 pages long, and when I say that the ending was so calculatedly sadistic and cruel, I wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. And the second that book ended, I took my ass to Goodreads and I slapped a 5-star on that so quick because I was like, shit. Anyway, good stuff, if you couldn't tell. Okay, so next, what extreme horror video is complete without Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez? This is literally my favorite book of all time. This is literally the mascot of this channel. If you don't like this book, I literally have no trust in you, okay? I mean, if you don't like it, that's totally fine, but I will take every single recommendation you give me moving forward with a huge grain of salt, okay? Not even a grain, a huge fistful. I will be like, this person and I are built different, and we just don't see eye to eye. We can be friends, but your taste is not the same as mine, sorry. So this is the best extreme horror book ever written. It's my favorite book, it is so good. We follow this woman named Lisa who is on vacation with her husband, and on the way to their destination, they get pulled over and her husband gets arrested. Now, while he is in jail awaiting his trial, she gets kidnapped in the hotel room and is told that she's gonna star in a snuff film. Now, if those of you don't know what a snuff film is, it's basically this, where they murder the person on screen. Like real murder, like illegal, actual killing. And people watch this shit and they're disgusting. And the thing I love most about this book is that it explores the motivations of people who make these movies. I don't really use this word for extreme horror, but the world building is so good. Like, you truly feel like this phenomena is something that happens and something that could happen to anyone. And we follow from the perspective of the villains, the people who make this movie, and why they do so and why they participate in the making of it. So good. So basically, she's told she's gonna star in this snuff film, and the book follows her on her journey in trying to survive, okay? That's why the book is called Survivor. And when I say that this bitch, what this bitch does to survive, I would rather be dead. Like, I was just like, I can't. When I say that I was reading some portions of this book with splayed fingers above my face, yeah. Also, she's pregnant. So yeah, it's sad. Her situation is not good. Okay, so next I'm gonna be talking about the book The Troop by Nick Cutter. It's not really extreme horror, but it's also disgusting in a good way. We basically follow this scoutmaster and some Boy Scouts. They go to the they go to this secluded island, and on the island they're setting up their tents and shit, they're camping. And this man, this strange man comes in, and he is hungry, he is ravenous, he is eating everything that he can see, and they're like, this guy, despite the fact that he's literally eating dirt off the floor, is emaciated. He is super skinny, we need to help him. Okay, so they help him and regret everything. That's all I'm gonna say. Go read the book right now, thank you very much. Trigger warning for animal abuse, like there is a scene involving a turtle, and some kittens, and a slug. My favorite character was Shelly, because of who I am as a person. Judge away. Anyway, that book would be nothing without him. So next I'm gonna be recommending a couple of books by my friend, author Judith Sonnet. I read these books back during my hiatus, so I do not have vlogs for them, but I did promise her I'd talk about them on my channel, and here we go. Let's talk about Torture the Sinners. This book follows a group of friends who go hang out in this place that was once a monastery, but it's now abandoned, and there are things lurking in the walls. And this book deals with zombies, okay? It is a supernatural book, and I normally don't read horror that deals with stuff like this. I like my extreme horror to be focused exclusively in the realm of the real world, because real world horror scares me more than ghosts and zombies and haunted dolls. Like, to me, those things are just signifiers of horror. They don't scare me, they're just, I don't know, they're just cheap, in my opinion. They're fun, they can be fun, like I did have fun at the Conjuring and Annabelle movies, but I did not get scared, I slept like a baby, it did not disturb me in the slightest. Okay, and I genuinely feel that Judith understands and shares this same sentiment as me, because she didn't even try to disturb me with this book. Like, this book was fun. This book was her most fun by far. It was gnarly, it was a blast, it was fast-paced, the kills were good. They aren't as gruesome as her latter works, specifically the For the Sake of books, but they're really good, okay? They're really good. She also wrote this other book, this short story collection called Something Akin to Revulsion, which I also do recommend. I love this book, and she actually won a contest called the Gross Out Contest, where a bunch of extreme horror authors take turns reading their stories, and apparently if you have the grossest story you win, and her story Lol Cow, I think, won, and that story is in this book, so I enjoyed that book a lot, and you will too. Trust me on that. It's disgusting. Okay, so next I also do want to recommend the short story collection Dark Assembly by Aaron Beauregard, author of the Slob. This was also a collection of extreme horror stories, and the cover is so gnarly, I'm gonna have to censor it. No, The original cover does not look like this. Okay, the teddy bear is blocking something that I really don't want to risk putting on the screen right now in this moment in time. So we're just not gonna do that. What I love so much about Aaron Beauregard's writing is that he is genuinely funny. Like, there are some genuinely funny lines that are put in that don't take away from the horror, but like they just blend in so well, and the tonal balance is so good. And the way his stories start in the most unassuming of places, but then just somehow end up in the craziest situations is just great. It's nasty in the good way. So I didn't really care for the story about rotten eggs, but I loved Some Girl, Population Control, and Last Days in Honduras. Those stories were the highlight of this book, and trust me, if you like what I like, you're gonna love this shit. You're gonna love it. Okay, so the next book I'm gonna talk about, I didn't actually like, but I did a full vlog on this, and this isn't me recommending this book, but this is me acknowledging that this book does have things that did make me want to vomit, and that is Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this book, and for you to find out why, please, I invite you to watch my vlog. But the reason I'm including this is because cannibalism and necrophilia. This book is set in this hospital that has no security, apparently, and we follow this guy who likes to dead bodies, okay? And then one day he is going around the hospital and he catches the eye of this woman who seems creepy. And he discovers her one day in the morgue eating dead babies. So they strike up this relationship, and the reason I'm putting this in, although I did not like this book, is because there is a scene in a clinic. I'm not gonna say the word because I don't want to get more flagged than I am. The algorithm is rude. Say a controversial word, they're like, "F you," and I'm like, damn, why? Let me just talk about books in peace. Rude. Rude. Anyway, so the scene in that clinic made me want to vomit. It was like literally the best scene in that book. And then the scene at the end, yo, that finale was so good. When this book is an extreme horror novel, it's so good, but it's padded out with so much like exposition and commentary that's just so shallow and badly written. Watch the video, okay? Chandler Morrison really should be grateful that this book came out the same year as House Across the Lake, which pretty much makes his book safe from being crowned worst book of the year. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, those are a couple of Judith's books that I have read recently that I think are totally worth the read. But since we are making an extreme horror list, I definitely need to recommend her most extreme books. And that would be the For the Sake of Duology for now, because I think I remember her telling me that it was gonna eventually turn into a trilogy. For now, you can read the first 2 books. They are both out. They were both published this year. Specifically For the Sake of 2, this is the book I'm gonna prominently feature on this video. Don't get me wrong, the first book is also really good, really gnarly, extremely gruesome, extreme horror through and through, but this second book is an extreme horror masterpiece with a capital M. It is incredible. Like, she has grown so much as a writer from the first book. Like, this book is just so much better on every single level, from the villain to the main characters to the gore to the excitement to the kills. It is just so good. In addition to amping up the gore and just raising the stakes and the production level of the kills at the end, she also does an exceptional job with character. Like, the characters in this book and the way she writes them and the way she shows their interactions with the world around them makes you feel like these are actual genuine people that you know. Also, this book is special. This sequel is special because it features extreme horror with a certain kind of thing that happens in the book Cows, but I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil. But the scene when a woman is forced to do something either with a dead body or a stranger, and then the stranger, when we find out what that is, it was, my jaw hit the floor, and it was just like, wow, this is extreme and I am living for this. Okay, next I want to recommend a personal favorite of mine, and that is Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. This is probably one of the most beautiful One of the most beautifully written books I have ever read. The prose is masterful. The prose is fantastic. But this beautiful prose lends itself to the most disgusting and depraved things that you can imagine. Okay, so we follow these two... Oh boy, here's where the video gets monetized. We follow these two people-eating, dead body-liking, child-liking, breakfast cereal killers. That was the most PG-13 way I could say that. So yeah, these two serial killers who have very similar interests cross paths and realize that they have a lot in common, and a love story-ish relationship blossoms. And we follow these two other characters, this man who was dumped by his boyfriend and his boyfriend who was, I think, disowned by his family for being gay, and their story kind of ties into the two serial killers. But before all that happens, we get to learn so much about these people. My favorite character is a man named Luke, because the way we get into his head and the way Poppy Z. Brite lets us into his very dark, nihilistic, frankly scary view of the world is just probably the most disturbing thing in that novel. Yes, like even more disturbing than a lot of the kills, so it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Love, love, love Exquisite Corpse. There we go. So next I want to recommend The Summer I Died by Ryan C. Thomas. This is one of the first extreme horror books I've ever read, and oh boy, was this an introduction to the genre. Like, I know that some of my friends have said that this wasn't as extreme as other books I've recommended, but I remember being very new to the genre and not knowing how far somebody could push it. And admittedly, yes, I have read books that were more gruesome than this, but for those of you who might also be new and wanting to read something that will really freak you out, I highly recommend this book. We follow these two young men, one named Roger, the other one named Tooth. Roger is this more put-together academic, has his life together, and Tooth is someone who doesn't really have his shit together. He's kind of like an asshole, and really annoying to read from at times. But the way Ryan C. Thomas develops their characters makes you truly feel their camaraderie and friendship in a way that feels authentic, even though it's not always the most politically correct thing. But then it's not like super hard to believe that, you know, people would have conversations like this. So you really feel like they're real people, in addition to the people in their family, right? The first half of the book is very much slower, it's more character-based. But like the second half of the book is when the extreme horror stuff comes in, because they are in the woods and they hear a distressed woman screaming. And when they find out why she is screaming, they investigate the situation and see that their efforts to save this person was pretty much them biting off way more than they could chew. They end up in this extremely dangerous, terrifying situation, and it is just like extremely graphic, brutal, intense. It's a lot. Some of the gore happens behind closed doors, so you don't necessarily see a very graphic description of what happens to a certain person, but it's the not knowing that scared me even more, and seeing the aftermath of what was done to that person that really like freaked me out and had me like, oh shit, if I was in this situation seeing this, I don't know how I could go on living, you know? So yeah, I definitely recommend this if you are an extreme horror fan or someone interested in the genre. Last but not least, I just want to recommend a graphic novel, and that is Crossed by Garth Ennis. This book is so fucking good, it's so fucking gnarly. It reminded me a lot of the film The Sadness, which is literally my favorite movie of the year so far. It is so, so good. It's one of the goriest movies to come out in recent memory. They follow the same plot, which is this world that is turned upside down by this virus that essentially turns people into conscious zombies. And I say conscious because they're not just flesh-eating like no, they are who they are, but they are a version of themselves that craves violence and sexual depravity, so they go around doing all this shit, and it's fucked up. In The Sadness, we follow a couple of lovers trying to reunite. And in Crossed, we follow a band of survivors, and I think Crossed takes it further than The Sadness does, But either way, both of them were really good. I highly recommend them, and yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if I helped you find any good reads that you would like to read now in your life. Okay, sorry for not posting anything. That's all I really can say today. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video with people who you think might like these books. Spooky season, share the wealth, share the blessings. But yeah, I hope to see you in future videos, and as always, take care.